This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and we spent a lot of time talking about the governor's primary, ayes versus runner, but there's other statewide primary elections on the Republican side that we should take note of as well. We've spoken with Erica Harold before on this show. She is a candidate for Attorney General in the Republican primary, where you've got about, 8 candidates on the Democrat side, including former Governor Pat Quinn. But
that's going to be a tight race.
Well, it could be interesting, especially if Quinn's the nominee.
Yeah. Do you think Quinn will get it?
Residual name ID and goodwill on the Democrat side, I think Quinn would be the favorite. I could see Raul winning, but I think Quinn is probably the favorite in the closing days. We'll see. And also some recent polling has the Republican contest for the Attorney General nomination quite close as well. We're basically a statistical dead heat. Erica Harold is one candidate. The gentleman who joins us now is the other candidate. He's a DuPage County board member, former mayor of Burr Ridge, and attorney, of course, Gary Grasso. Gary, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Appreciate you having me on.
No problem. So the rationale for your candidacy, why you would make a better GOP nominee than Ms. Harold?
Well, it's all about qualifications and experience. Dan, I've been a litigator, which is what the key role of the Attorney General is. I've been a litigator for 40 years. Almost. My opponent has very little actual litigation experience. I have tried cases. I've handled hundreds of cases in civil litigation. I've been at major firms downtown, have my own firm now. And so that's key to why I'd be the better candidate. Also, I'm a former mayor, as you said. I'm also the chairman of the 911 board in DuPage County. I have extensive public service and a record of achievement. So I also know how to run an office. Don't forget, the Attorney General is an office where it's probably the second biggest law firm, public law firm in the state of Illinois. There's over 350 attorneys there, an equal number of staff. So I have that experience too. My opponent really hasn't managed anything. She's, I don't believe, even a partner in her own law firm. So you have to look at my qualifications. And, I could have left the state. I could be one of those out-migrators. I'm going to be here to fight for the people of Illinois. I'm the right guy with the right experience to go after the Cook County Democrat political system, and that's going to be my number one priority, corruption.
Let me just press on the experience thing a bit, because as Oscar Wilde famously observed, experience is what we call our failures. I think there's too much deference paid to experience in this state, which is why we keep putting the same people in the same office. Well, what's their qualification? I've been here. Well, that's not much of a qualification. Performance is the qualification. So just speaking to all of those positions you've held and the posts that you've where you've been in a leadership position, tell us a bit about accomplishments, performance in those areas that would translate to the Attorney General's office.
Right. So on the litigation side, I've been very successful in my practice. Dan, I've been successful in my cases representing many clients. Of course, like anybody else, as you say, experience part of that is that you don't always win every case, but from experience is where you get judgment. And that's really, really what's important here. On the public service side, I've been a successful mayor. I got a lot of help from others, but I was the mayor in Burr Ridge when we built the Village Center in the worst economic times at no true expense to the taxpayers. We built a new police department, properly financed. We brought in Loyola as one of their major out-campus facilities in Burr Ridge. I also was able to get many public services and the bridge granted over I-55 for the benefit of our taxpayers in Burr Ridge. Now, on the 911 board, I have been the chairman there where we've consolidated down. So what have I done there? With the help of a lot of people also prior to me and currently, we have consolidated. I'm a big person about consolidating government. We have way too much government in this state. And we brought the 911 board down from 22 call centers to 3. And in that period, we have saved the taxpayers $7 to $8 million annually in DuPage. And what have we done with that money? We've turned it into more technology and better service. So when you look at my experience and my accomplishments, that's exactly why I'm the better choice.
Well, yeah, you do sound like you have a nice resume there, an accomplished career. But why do you want this job?
Well, I have. My wife and I will be married 40 years in May. We have 6 grown children, 3 grandchildren. I've got a lot at stake in Illinois. And again, I could take the easy way out. I could be one of the out-migrators. I don't want to pay these high property taxes anymore, which are rampant throughout the entire state of Illinois. The equity in people's homes have been diminished because of the leadership that would be to Dan's point. We put in the same people. Who are those same people? Mike Madigan and his cronies. We have to go.
Yeah, although you could argue that, and I would argue that Republicans have done a lot of that same people business too, which is why the Republican Party is in the super minority position, despite the state being destroyed by those Chicago Democrats. So there's, this is a conspiracy of fools of sort, to borrow David Foster Wallace.
Have you had any?
I'm
debates?
not amongst those.
Oh, well, I can see the point, but so
I'm not amongst those people, Dan, and I'm going to go after those people. We have accepted this way of doing business in Chicago. Oh, it's okay. That's the Chicago way. That it's wrong. It's been wrong for the 30 years, 40 years that Madigan and his people. Just look at the whole property tax assessment system. Look at what has been uncovered as to the cronyism there. That's where they get their money.
I know.
That's where they get their power. We got to break that.
It's so weird because Mike Madigan sits on a committee that sets tax codes, and then he owns a company where he reduces power for people's property taxes. It's just mind-blowing. And his daughter, Lisa, has been the attorney general for 16 years.
Right, and so that's a blatant conflict of interest. Look, lawyers are supposed to not put themselves in conflicts of interest, not have semblance of impropriety. We have accepted that the longest-serving Speaker of any House in America, and now the longest-serving Attorney General in Illinois history, have been there, father and daughter, protecting each other. She ran on a platform in '02 on public corruption. She has done nothing. Give you another example: the sexual harassment issues that have just come up. Outrageous. Never tolerable anywhere. What does Mike Madigan do? Oh, I'm gonna appoint my own committee. What? You're going to appoint your own committee to investigate yourself? Susan Mendoza and other people that he's put in office. Where is Lisa Madigan on this? This is exactly where I will be, where the Attorney General should be. So we can't tolerate this anymore.
So when there are things like, for example, the General Assembly failing to appoint a legislative inspector general for 3 years, you're gonna be at the tip of the spear, making sure the legislators, making sure public officials are abiding their responsibilities under the law. And number one, and number two, if they run afoul of the law, you're not going to wait for 219 South Dearborn. You're going to get involved and prosecute corruption.
I will, Dan. It's exactly part of the Attorney General's job. I use the word all, A-L-L. It is to advocate. It is to recommend remedial legislation, which I could get into too, and of course, primarily to litigate, which I think I have the great experience. But that's what you do. You advocate. You use the bully pulpit. You shine the bright light. You say, Inspector General, do your job. Public access officer, do your job. And I will do that as Attorney General. And as a Republican, I can do that. And I'm the independent Republican in this. My opponent is fully on board with the governor. The governor just financed her campaign again. She keeps saying, oh, I'm not. He just put a whole bunch of money in her campaign because this race is neck and neck. Mm-hmm. She is bought and owned by the governor. I am independent. I'm putting my own money into this campaign. I could leave the state, but I want to be the next Attorney General.
For more information on your campaign, people can go where, Gary?
GaryGrasso.com.
Grasso, GaryGrasso.com. Gary, Republican candidate for Attorney General. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck. Appreciate it.
Dan, Amy, thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
No problem. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about